and video games that we have been playing.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got a couple of check-ins here, basically.
Yeah.
But one of them, during the week, I realized I never spoke about finishing Elden Ring. I spoke about finishing my work on Elden Ring, but not the game.
Yeah, I think you were more excited about that than the ending of Elden Ring.
I was. Let me tell you, I was. And then after we recorded last week, I started doing more work on Elden Ring.
Lucky you.
I know. It's different work, so I'm feeling a bit more refreshed about it, which is good. But yeah, like I finished this game, right? And it's interesting. I sort of finished it, and I was going through some of the older videos that I made 2 months ago now, and looking at Margit's boss fight and like the first 5 bosses to take out video I did, stuff like that. And I was thinking about that initial open experience of just being in Limgrave and there being so many things to do. And if you want to go further afield, you can go around Stormvale, or you can go to the Weeping Peninsula, or you can go to Caelid.
Yeah.
Like there are so many hours in that opening area. It's ridiculous. More so than I think there are in the rest of the game. I think the rest of the game is a bit more sparse, whereas that first quadrant they give you is quite dense. And I think that's to its credit. It's sort of like by the time you get up to those further areas, you've been playing long enough that you know what you're doing, and you can kind of go straight to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And if you really want to explore, you can. But I was my ending thoughts on this was that I am sad I didn't get to have the experience of discovering a lot of these things naturally, like with Radahn, for example. Where you have to activate the Radahn Festival to have the option to take him on as a boss, and that changes the whole area. And you do that by doing other quests or activating other like lifts and reaching new areas in the game. But I could just imagine getting to the point where they're like, "Oh, you have to wait for the festival to start," and then being like, "Oh, fucking now what?" Like
Right.
as a player, not actually knowing what to do or being told how to go to get the video done the fastest. So I do feel a little bit not cheated, but I do feel like I've missed out on something there. But that being said, I think this is From Software's, and I haven't finished most of their games. I haven't played everything to the fullest extent, but I think this is maybe their best game.
Right.
In so many ways. I do think it is more approachable. I'm not going to say accessible, but I do think it is more approachable in so many ways. There's so many more approachable ways to customize your character to be however you want. You can do Ash summons, character summons, multiplayer summons for any boss that you want to fight. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of good that can be said about this game.
And like a lot of like quality of life stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like the way the fast travel works is sort of like it's just a bit nicer.
Totally.
Like
the extra
traversal,
quick inventory slots and
like sprint not using stamina when you're in combat kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like little things that just like help.
Absolutely. It's really good. I'm glad it came out. I'm glad it came out so complete. I'm glad it's getting so much support too. They're patching it so much, which is great. They're balancing it like a multiplayer game.
I think they're also adding in stuff that wasn't finished.
Yeah, they did do that in the 1.1 or 1.2 patch.
1.3 I think was one of the ones as well.
Yeah, and it added a whole new NPC, and which added new steps to other NPCs' quest lines, which before were just incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it kind of points to it coming in a little hot in some ways. But everything that needed to be rock solid was, which is great. I have no idea where it's going to be on my list by the end of the year in terms of game of the year, but
right.
It's really good. I'm glad it's here. I really like this game.
I was thinking about it the other day. Because I was once again thinking about Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne is better for me.
Yep.
I think as a complete experience, there are moments that you can get in a game that isn't as open world as Elden Ring is.
Yeah.
That is like basically impossible to get in a game like that. The smaller character moments, with how open Elden Ring is, which is like extraordinarily open. The specifically directing a player is much harder.
Yep.
And so some stuff gets missed, which then sort of makes the special moments harder to work and frame.
Yeah, totally.
And
the people who do everything start seeing repeating bosses and palette swaps, and they get overpowered. Yeah.
Yeah, like there are things that I think are that's just the way video games are sometimes. And that is, the more open it is, the less directed it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. But I think for my money, a game like Bloodborne really hits different.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. It reminds me of the Breath of the Wild discussions that were happening, where it's like, oh, I miss traditional dungeons, and I miss the way the world like connects to like the Goron Valley and
That's like that's me. Like, for me, the best Zelda game I've ever played still is Link to the Past.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the way that world connects, that's amazing in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also finished Arkham Knight. I don't really feel like I